Oh,
Hi, beautiful.
look at you, lady in red.
How are you, gorgeous?
You're so stunning. Oh my gosh, with this backdrop, and I'm in my closet trying to hide from my 3-year-old.
You know, I'm just trying to be like you when I grow up. You're the stunning one, okay?
Oh
You're
my
so
gosh,
gorgeous.
the hair, the color, I'm here for it. How are
Yes.
you?
We are so excited to have you. How are you? We have Maz herself. Not in person, but
Yes.
it's the next best thing in person.
I am, you know what? I am good. It's been a really busy week with the show dropping on
Yes,
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah, so I'm doing press in like Australia and back home in South Africa where I'm from and here. So I'm dealing with time zones and then trying to be a mother and a wife and dealing with this heat.
I know. The heat, oh my God. And I just got back from Texas and I thought that was insane. I went for the weekend and came back. I was like, no, wait a minute. This is worse than Texas. This is crazy.
Girl, this humidity, I'm just like, I'm used to the dry California heat, but this feels like New Orleans.
This is insane. This is insane. Let's dive right in. Maz.
Okay.
Look, I'm saying Maz. Let's dive right in, Liz.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So you're, like everybody else, tuned into the Democratic Convention. You've been tweeting about it. Like, I follow you on Twitter. You've been tweeting about it. And you recently tweeted on Monday, it kicked off on Monday, and you tweeted, you said, crying,
sorry.
This is the first lady who welcomed me so warmly as an immigrant, who continues to inspire me and so many others. Did you meet our forever first lady or what?
I have never met her, and okay. I all over like my feet. You know, one of the greatest tragedies in my life is that I never got to meet Nelson Mandela, who I always my president, and I kind of the Obamas and what they've done in that same light, because I vividly remember New Zealand and watching Obama elected and feeling the same sense of pride that I remembered watching Nelson Mandela get elected in my home country, and like what it meant for us as a people, as a nation, for the world, you know. And so I always felt welcomed here by that family.
Yes.
And I just was so inspired by her speech, and she was sort of like, you know, that black mother that's going like, listen,
yeah, she got us together.
Get yourselves ready to go out there, pack your lunch, do what you have to do, but this is like bigger than yourself.
Yes, you know? Yes. I mean, it was so inspiring. I was like, okay, if you don't get it by now, you should get it. Like, we have to get out there. You know, if people were like confused or at a point of like, okay, what do I do? Look, Auntie told us, our forever first lady told us what to do, what we need to do. Pack a lunch, like you said. Let's get out there and vote.
Yeah, and it's I think it's a vote that, you know, will really speak to the humanity and the morality of this country, because what it means is that you're putting, you know, obviously there are persons, every American and people who live here, like there individually would like to see that there are also needs that don't necessarily affect us. Right. So, for example, you know, if you're a white person, the Black Lives Matter may not necessarily be something that affects you on a daily basis, but it does your friends and your coworkers and people you don't know. So, you know, I think it's important to get this country back on track, because it affects the world who runs this nation and who leads this nation. They not run the nation. So I just really I am praying that we can. You know, I can't vote. I'm a green card holder, so I can't vote yet. But I am doing what I can for my adopted home.
Right. And telling your friends to get out there, the people that you know, your platform. You use your platform so beautifully to, you know, bring awareness. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, thank you for using your voice. Even though you're not able to vote, you're still, you know, rallying the people up to get out there. So thank you so much for that, Leslie. Let's talk a little bit about Cape Town, South Africa, where you're from. So you were born and raised in Cape Town, and then you moved to New Zealand at 17.
Yes.
Worked in worked in sales and marketing, and you did some modeling. Okay, that doesn't sound anything like acting. When do you catch that? When do you catch the acting bug? When does that like come on your radar?
Well, if you asked any of my family growing up, I was a bit of a clown. You know, I was always kind of performing, and I did perform in school, primary school plays. You guys call it elementary school here.
Yeah.
But they never cast me in a high school play. I wasn't good enough for them.
They're bad.
I think what happened was we moved to New Zealand. It was a very tough age. You know, my parents, as many immigrant parents do who come to America, went, you know, had an opportunity to give their children, you know, expose them to more and to give them, I won't say a better life, but more opportunity than what was currently being offered, you know, back home. My father's very intelligent man, and he got this incredible offer in New Zealand. So I sort of dragged kicking and screaming at 17, about to turn 18, from culture, my friends, everything.
Right.
And it was tough. And I got there, me and find, you know, my accent got stronger, and people couldn't understand what I was saying. And I, you know, I worked, and they couldn't afford to go to university because that would have meant paying international fees. My parents couldn't afford.
Right.
But I was always one of those kids who, you know, I didn't necessarily grow up going, I want to be a doctor, I want this, or I want to do that. I just always felt this, like, I don't fit in. I remember feeling that. I never felt like I fit in anywhere. And when I started doing some modeling and more performance-based commercials, you know, I actually had a casting director pull me aside, and she was saying, you know, you really should take this seriously. So, you know, try and find some classes, or, you know, immerse yourself in the craft. And that's exactly what I did. I tried to find some local classes, and I was actually working as an IT consultant.
Oh.
When I was cast in my first role, a half-hour comedy. Wow. And then my next role was Spartacus. And oh, sorry, the signal may have cut out there.
Oh no, you're fine. I can see you.
Okay. So then my next role was Spartacus. And then I did a big jump from Spartacus and left the show, and decided to come to the States because I had that golden ticket of a work visa. And it sort of took over here, you know. Sorry, this signal.
Oh no, you're fine.
My area is kind of weird. I think it's the heat.
I don't know. It's crazy. You're good though. You're good.
Yeah. So my journey has been very unconventional. You know, in a lot of ways. But I'm always still the girl from Cape Town.
Right. Still the girl from Cape Town. I love it. And so let me ask you a little bit about that. So your acting journey started in New Zealand. So do you think that it was difficult to make the transition from there to the States, or was it a seamless transition in terms of the work that you were doing, in terms of the opportunities that you were getting?
In New Zealand?
Yes.
Rarely. There weren't people that kind of really looked like me. I mean, they're obviously, you know, the indigenous people, the Maori, the Polynesian community, you know, but a lot of Kiwis go to Australia, and in Australia there really wasn't very many opportunities for me at all. Right. Sort of like, you know, a token Lebanese character or an Asian character, or maybe you would see an Aboriginal character. So for me, when I what I was seeing in the States, you know, we grew up. South Africa is very influenced by America, like music, entertainment wise. You know, I was born, so you know, SWV and Whitney Houston and the Baker, like that's what I grew up with. And so I just figured, you know, I was also in my late 20s, so I was sort of like, well, that means I'm just going to go straight to 1,000-piece puzzle here and see if I can do this. You
Right.
know,
Right.
once I never, I sort of found my community of people, you know, who are creative. Yeah, but it's, you know, coming to America even has been challenging because I had to learn a lot here about America.
Yes, yes. What
It,
advice would you give your, go ahead, say that again.
I had to learn a lot about the business for women of color here.
Yes, yes. And Leslie, what piece of advice would you give yourself, your 20-year-old self that moved from New Zealand and decided, okay, I want to take it a step up, I want to take it up a notch and move to the States? What piece of advice would you give her on what to expect and what's to come in her journey?
I think it would be, you know, that I went for 4 years without seeing my family. And it was incredibly hard because I couldn't fly back to see them because I was living that, you know, actor dream.
Right.
I was making just enough to like pay my rent, and that was incredibly hard. And I think I felt really detached from my culture, my family, my friends. I'm very different. I think I'd romanticized a lot about America growing up, obviously, shows and you know, I think the world does that, you know, but I don't think I was prepared for a lot of the racism when I got here, and that and also I will say the colorism too, you know, the feeling free to say and be racist in front of me because they weren't quite sure like what, you know, that's what I get. I get the feeling comfortable. So having a director say, oh, you know, you will do well because you are not offensive on with a white person, like I was just like, what I'm say, you know. So a lot of that I felt culturally very disconnected, and it took me a while, and I had to do work to kind of learn about this country, to be honest with you. So what I would say to myself is everything you went through was absolutely what you were supposed to go through. And it made you a stronger person, and you know, sit at gratitude for whatever those experiences were.
I love it. I love that. And then you've gone on to appear, like we talked about a little bit, CSI, Chuck. Someone said, loved you in Chuck. I loved you in Chuck as well. I loved you in being Mary Jane, Single Ladies, and then a host of other films and TV projects. But we definitely love you as Mazikeen on Lucifer. We so love this. So I have so many questions, Les. So bear with me.
Tell me, girl. Lay it on me.
I'm going to lay it on you. First of all, I'm really big on audition process, right? Like I like to know how it came about. What was the call? How did it, I know your agent had something to do with it. I'm sure a manager, but with this story, it's a little bit different because you weren't initially cast as Maz, right? Is that correct? Talk to us a little bit about how you came to be on the show.
So I was on that, you know, hamster wheel of pilot season that all us actresses and actors go through every year. And it's obviously the business has changed quite a bit in the last 5 years since the show has been on air. But I, you know, it had been a tough year. I remember that. And pilot season was coming up. I was very excited. And I usually go into like my zone where I'm like, listen, for 2 months to my friends, don't call me, don't talk to me. I'm going to be auditioning. I'm busy. And in that week, I had 3 auditions, 3 tests actually. So I'd auditioned and then they decided to test me. Lucifer was one of them. And then there were 2 others. I forget their names. I went in fully in leather, pants leather, boots leather, bra. Like
looking bad as ever.
I was just like, and this is the thing. It's like one thing I'm never afraid to, you know, get it wrong. I'm never afraid to take a risk.
Right.
So I, I remember distinctly unzipping my hoodie and I put you walk in on sneakers and I put my boots on and I remember all the girls in the waiting room kind of looking at me like, okay, that's a bit, much. But I went in there going, this is who I think she is. And, and then, we were waiting for them to make the decision because the two other shows were waiting. They decided to go with another actress. I went and tested for two other shows. I didn't get it, and it was probably one of the worst weeks ever, because I just felt like, what more can I do? Like I'm busting my ass here, and I'm doing the work, and then I guess she went to the table read, and I knew D.B. Woodside, my co-star from Single Ladies, and I had called him earlier to congratulate him and say, listen, congratulations, and it's so exciting that you're on the show. And I auditioned for Maze and I didn't get it. And he said, well, I think you may be getting a call. And because I guess he had been at the table read and something had gone down that I wasn't familiar with. And then 2 weeks later I got a call and they were like, hey, so your deal's reinstated and we want to have you play Maze. And then my life changes. And that's Hollywood.
So even when you get it and then you get it. Were you like mind blown?
Yes, I have a video that I've saved that I always, every year before we start the show, I always watch the video, and it's basically me in the park on the day that I got a call, and my husband, and I'm jumping up and down in slow-mo, and my husband put the song Happy, Pharrell's Happy to it. And he was like, I never want you to forget this moment, So every year before I start the show, I look back at the video to remind myself, like, you almost didn't have it. So,
Look at God.
Remember, be humble and,
I love that story. That's why I was like, okay, I have to have her to tell this story because that is just like, you just never know. Like you thought you didn't get it. And then 2 weeks later, you're, okay, I'm at work. I'm ready to work. That's
the advice I always say to people, like young actresses or, kids in school. I'm like, this business is not for the faint-hearted. You have to have a thick skin. No, you're going to hear more no's than yeses. And that is not a reflection on your talent. Often these decisions have nothing to do with you. It's all political. So, just blind confidence is what you need just to keep pushing.
I love that, blind confidence. I love that. I'm going to use that. I like that, Lesley. So season 5, we talked about, picks up this Friday on the 21st. You all were in production. Uh-oh, I'm sorry. Girl, my screen keeps like kind of going out a little bit.
Don't worry. No, you're good on my end.
Thank you. So season 5 picks up this Friday, August 21st on Netflix. You all were in production when COVID hit. Is that right? For season 5? So did you guys complete it?
We have one scene to film, which is incredible considering, and it's one big scene that was going to take basically 1 week. And I think the studio and the production made the right call to, pull the plug because that period was very scary and, really unsure about what was going on and, misinformation and was all around the air. And so we basically, what we'll do when we go back to season 6 is we will pick up that one scene, shoot it, because the second half of the season, the 8 episodes won't air till later. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but so we were lucky. We were, I have friends who were in the middle of a show who were, episode 3, and then the show got canceled because of COVID. So we're very blessed to be able to have employment and work when so many people, regardless of being an actor or not, are struggling,
Definitely. Let's talk a little bit about where we're picking up season 5. So where are we going to see Maz in season 5? Where are we picking up with you and your character?
So, obviously Eve.
Yes.
She done left me. She left me crying in the middle of downtown. And and you know, Chloe's heartbroken, and as girls do, as girlfriends do, we lean into each other when we're brokenhearted, and our storylines are kind of mirroring each other at the same time, you know, where we pick up. And so whether this is a healthy working situation for these two is to be decided, but they they're two girls just trying to get over heartbreak, and I think as the story progresses, you will see Maz this year just drawing very clear. This is probably the most independent she is in the entire series.
Okay.
Because I think she's always tethered to Lucifer in a way.
Yeah.
That kind of like, we're from hell, we have this bond, we know each other. Even if you piss me off and upset me, you know, or you take me for granted. Right. And I think this is the year where she's like, no more. You know, so she's drawing very clear boundaries, but then also simultaneously being incredibly vulnerable in ways you've never seen her before.
Oh.
And then on top of that, the most demonic she's ever been.
Oh.
In the show.
We can't wait.
She's scary. She's scary.
She's beautifully scary, though. That's the thing. At least you look good on the outside. You're scary, but at least you give us this. You're gorgeous, scary. Talk to us a little bit about what was your favorite like moment of the season. What was your favorite like episode or your favorite moment of the season?
I would say one of my favorites. I have many. It's very hard to choose, but one of my favorites is the noir episode. Because I get to sing. And
your voice is so bomb.
Oh, listen. If I do not sing like Whitney Houston. But if you don't think I wanted to be her as a child, I wish that I could sing as good as her. But you know, last year was very vulnerable for me because it's scary to bare your soul in a different artistic way in front of a crew, and then have that go out into the world. And this year, they challenged me again with two songs, a duet with Tom. And, you know, I really, really, really was very adamant. I've always looked and if they were like, who do you think, who do you draw from for Maze? I always said Grace Jones and Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt and Grace Jones were just two iconic, you know, we are who we are, take it or leave it. Just such incredibly groundbreaking artists. And I said, obviously one song is very, it's a duet, it's very soft and beautiful and melodic. And I was like, these have to be two Black vocalists, please. And here's one that you guys like and love, and they put one forward, and then here's the one I really, really, really want, because I think she embodies so much of who this character is, because we're all playing different characters in that episode.
Right.
And they went with it, and it's a big, very big, you know, jazzy musical number, and I really was challenged vocally because I was like trying to hit those notes, girl. I was like, oh my god.
I know you delivered.
So that's probably a great moment. And then there's also and in that episode, actually, you get a lot of backstory about Maze. That episode is focused on Maze's backstory, and you probably understand a lot more about her after seeing that. And then I would say another moment is probably in the tail end of the season. I have this it comes from a place of incredible hurt and loss for her. But I have this giant big fight with like 10 men, and it's the most bloody, the most gory, the most demonic you'll see her in a fight. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And then Lucifer. So season 4, he's in hell. What is going on in season 5? What is your dynamic? What's going to be happening with you two?
Well, girl, I'm pissed because he left me and went to hell.
He left you. Yeah, he left you.
Yes, he left me, and he left me, and he did that thing that he said he wouldn't do in season 2, actually. You know, and again, it's like a sense of there's this constant theme of her being an afterthought for him. So, you know, the audience obviously knows that his twin brother Michael joins us this season, and obviously there's some interaction with Maze, and it's, you know, what Michael is very good at is preying on someone's vulnerability. And even though Maz is a very strong and smart woman,
right,
she has become more human. She has become more vulnerable and in that more permeable. So it's a wild ride for those two. But she's definitely not happy with Lucifer.
And she shouldn't be.
No, yeah, I'm sick of being second to Chloe.
What surprises do we have in store? I know God is coming, and played by Dennis. So that's exciting. I'm so excited about that. That's super exciting.
I cannot gush about Dennis enough. The man is one gorgeous. And
first and foremost,
can we just
have a moment?
Can we just say a silent prayer for the gorgeousness of Dennis Haysbert? And then, you know, his voice is just very, I'm like, Dennis, you need to be my voicemail. You know, and he's kind, and he's just so prepared and professional, and he was such a brilliant addition to our show. And I'm obviously very happy that as DB said recently on a podcast, very happy that that, you know, mom reflects one of her children, and God reflects one of the other children, you know. So I was really happy that they cast that, and that was actually pushed. DB actually really wanted him for about 2 years. He had been talking to him, and then there were 2 other writers as well who were really interested in having him take on this role, because it's, I mean, everyone since season 1 has been talking about when is God coming, you know.
We've been waiting.
But I have really great work with Dennis. I have one scene in particular, and he was so generous and so kind to me on my takes, and so supportive, and I really am excited for I haven't seen anything, so I'm gonna be watching it like.
Really? You haven't seen?
No, I have not seen a thing. I've not seen a thing. Yeah.
Okay. So we can't wait to Netflix on Friday.
Yeah.
Let me say, so it wouldn't be a DC comic show, right, or series without controversy. It's always some type of controversy, whether it's the casting of a Black lead. It's always controversy about that. But in particular with Lucifer, you guys were on Fox, and then you guys moved to Netflix, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But there were petitions signed to get the show removed because of, you know, Lucifer, the devil aspect of it all, right? What do you think the show's message is? What is the series? What is the true, deep, and purpose, the meaning of it? What do you think it is?
Well, I think what's really important for audiences to bear in mind is that we are loosely based off of a comic book,
right?
Not the book, and that's very important. Obviously, we use the characters of Lucifer and God and angels, etc. But I think what our show really, really speaks to is humanity and the beauty of human beings. And characters like Chloe, and characters like, you know, even Amenadiel, and characters like Ella, you know. And I think what our show does is makes you pause and think about taking responsibility for the decisions you make in your life on a day-to-day basis. You know, I am extremely spiritual. Tom's you know, father is a pastor. You know, I grew up like in the church. I, you know, sang in the choir, like, so I'm raised with a lot of spirituality around me, and I pray, and, you know, I didn't look at it like a religious show. I looked at it was, here's an opportunity to show that, like, the most irredeemable character ever finds his humanity, starts to do good things, starts to help his friends, starts to care about things. Same thing with Mazikeen. She
Mm-hmm.
learns, even if she falls on her face, even if she gets it
Mm-hmm.
wrong, even if her first thought is violence, she pulls herself back sometimes, you know?
Right.
And I think that when you have characters like those two, you know, we flip the angel, you know, the idea of what an angel is, you know,
Right.
too, you
Right.
know,
Right.
where angels can get it wrong, you know,
Right.
God's favorite son can get it wrong sometimes and make mistakes and then figure it out. And I think everyone has the opportunity to have a second chance in life if you're prepared to do the work. And I think that's what our show really focuses on. Um, and you know, there's a lot of heart in our show
Mm-hmm.
and representation for a lot of, you know, people.
Right.
For me in the LGBTQ, you know, plus community, to
Mm-hmm.
see that in a positive way,
Right.
I think is incredibly important because we have a very wide reaching audience that extends to the middle of this country who maybe don't think about those things in the
Right.
same way, you know.
Right.
So I do feel like we don't really hit those some of those things on the nose, but we do it in our way where the tone is like light. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but when we go there, we do go there.
Go there.
And I think probably post what's happened in the world now, you know, we're probably, I just read that we're doing a Black Lives Matter episode, and I'm just like, please, Lord, get it right.
Please,
That's my
Lord.
that's my first thing, you
Right.
know. But I think that we're taking the risks to basically reach and speak to things that are actually affecting people right now in the moment, you know, and it feels good to be a part of that.
Beautifully said, Liz. What's the most rewarding part of being on Netflix? So you left Fox. Fox was network TV, right? So you got that audience. But what's the most rewarding part of being on Netflix? Because you're in like over 150 countries, I believe. So
Hmm.
you're like able to touch a lot more people, I think, on Netflix.
I think for me, it's the love I get from back home in South Africa, to be honest with you, because
Mm-hmm.
more people from back home now get to you know, get to see a hometown girl. Obviously, my girlfriend Paul Tusi is on Queen Sono, so it's like the same thing. You
Yes,
know,
I
she's
saw
leading.
that photo.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and she's leading Queen Sono, and I'm so proud of her. You know, because we're such a rich continent and we're such a beautiful country, and so when I see messages, or you know, when I've gone home and I've seen little girls and boys who are from my, you know, my little area of the neighborhood I grew up in,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, wow, you know, you went over there and like you were one of us. I'm like, yeah, I went to the same school as your brother, and you know, so it means a lot to them. um and I think being able to, obviously, like you said, get the show out to so many more households.
Right.
I think our show just got overall like better looking, sexier. The marketing got better.
Yeah.
You know, all of it. Just it's like
Right.
we glowed up
You
in like a
said
big
it. You
way.
said it. Yes, you said it, Liz. You said
We
it.
went from commercial breaks trying to sell shampoo on Fox to Netflix. So
Y'all got to
I'm
upgrade for sure. Y'all got to upgrade
yeah,
for sure.
I'm so happy.
I love it. So you spoke a little bit about season 6. So reports have been swirling, but the news is out, right? The cat is out of the bag. You guys are
Yeah, so
coming
we're
back with season 6. What can we expect? Spill some tea. Give us the tea. What can we expect?
Oh, I don't know. They're breaking story right now. So usually what happens is they invite us into a Zoom, not a Zoom. We would usually pre-COVID go into the writers'
Right.
room, talk about, you know, your character, etc. And um, what I can say is, you know, we are. I mean, I thought season 5 was it because the writers really have gone there, and I think the fans are going to be very happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like season 6 now is like our bonus season where we get to really just do whatever we want. Send, you know, really like give each character an opportunity to shine, maybe over the course of 1 or 2 episodes as opposed to 1 or half an episode. My hope is that is that Maze gets a happy ending, whether that's with someone or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because
She
I feel
better.
like, I know, because I feel like, you know, I feel like, I'm like, damn, this girl is
You
really
deserve
trying.
it.
She's
She
growing.
deserves it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's growing. She's trying to figure things out. She's trying to be less violent. She's trying to talk, like, she's trying. I'm
She's
like,
trying, and that's what
give her
matters,
the happy
right?
ending, you know, that she needs.
Yes.
But we're supposed to start filming next month if everything goes to plan. And you know, they obviously they want the crew and the cast to return safely. So so far some of the other shows that have started back up in Los Angeles have actually been doing pretty well with testing, etc. But you know what, as soon as I know some stuff that I can share, we can do this again. I will
We
spill
have
some
to do
tea.
this again.
I will do it. I will do it. I will give
We
you,
definitely
you will
have
be
to know. Because the people are asking me, they're like in my DM, your fans, honey, the fans, the Lucifer fans are some diehard fans, okay?
and
they're like, what's going on with season 6? Can you ask her this? Can you ask her that? I was like,
I know, and you know, they're pretty tight-lipped about stuff because I think they know, like, as costs we share stuff. We're just like, hey, but I don't know anything 100% specific that I can share. And I'm sure that's, like I said, the Black Lives Matter episode was just announced today with the Entertainment Tonight, so that's a nugget.
And that's season 6, right?
That's
6,
season 6, yeah. Okay. So they're break, because I think that's important actually, and it's something that, you know, I brought up with them and I had a conversation with them. I said we're set in the Los Angeles PD, and the good guys are the cops. So what's being reflected right now, and not right now, maybe right now publicly in ways that it wasn't before, but like for the entirety of a Black person's life, is that, you know, yeah, they've been killing us for a long time.
Yeah, it's so just Black now being exposed, right?
Exactly.
More broader way, yeah.
Exactly. And when I moved here, I didn't even really understand. I mean, I have spent 10 years here, so I haven't grown up in America, you know. But I distinctly remember coming here and feeling very nervous every time I was around a police car. And I didn't understand why that was.
Right.
I honestly didn't. And my husband, who's white, he was like, oh, why? Like, you know, and he's lived here his entire life. So it's been a process for a lot of white folk, and like our showrunners included, to basically not just become woke, but to actually, if they're in positions to make changes, we are putting out entertainment and content that people are ingesting. So we have a responsibility to get it right and to be truthful. And we're not saying the LAPD on our show are now all of a sudden going to be completely horrible. But what we do want is an honest, true account of every facet of the police department across America. And that is a facet that is incredibly like we need to shine the light on that on our show. And so I'm glad that they're doing it. Like I said, I just hope they do it right.
Well, they will. They should, because people like you can give them input. And I have a quick question about that. Are you all able to provide like ideas or suggestions as it relates to different episodes or scenes that you're in or subject matter?
Absolutely. Yeah, DB had, you know, for example, DB had a lot of DB had been pushing for, so we kind of hinted on in a BLM episode, like, you know, I think it was season 4 or 3. And I think that, you know, and that was something that DB sort of had a conversation with them about, you know, it's important that you speak to your actors, you know, like if you're going to have 2 women in a relationship, please speak to some lesbians or bisexual people or pansexual people to make sure you get that representation right. And we do have input. I certainly do fight for Maz. I go in, and if I'm uncomfortable with something, I will voice my opinion. And if I feel like, you know, I can pay homage to the comic book, I have a lot of say in my wardrobe and my makeup and my hair. And I specifically this year said, I have been asking, you know, we've got a black hairstylist in our trailer finally, because
Yes.
I'm tired of seeing, you know, people uncomfortable, like
Right.
unsure, you know, and they've been listening. So so I will give the producers credit, you know, and the showrunners credit for that, but sorry, we do have a lot of say in and we do suggest. Tom suggests a lot of music for the show. They took my suggestions for, you know, one of my songs as well. So we are very fortunate to work with a very collaborative writers room.
That's good to know. And speaking of Black Lives Matter, in the episode that's coming up in season 6, you have not shied away for speaking up about causes like Black Lives Matter, the LGBTQ plus community. You recently spoke last year in New Orleans at the Human Rights Campaign in honor or in support of our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ plus. Why is it so important for you, Leslie, to use your platform, to use it for good, to use it to shine a light on issues that matter, or people that may not be aware of what's going on? You use your platform to educate them. Why is that so important for you to do?
If I'm honest with you, I think it's because of how I grew up and where I grew up, honestly. And the family I was raised in. You know, my mother is an incredibly empathetic woman. She is, I love her dearly, and I always say I got my grit and, you know, my my grit and my stubbornness and my ability to hear no and still go for it from my father. But I got a different kind of strength from my mother, and an empathetic strength in that. So I think when you have a voice, if you spoke to anyone I grew up with in high school, if anyone was being bullied, I was the person to step up and be like, let's go. You don't say that, you know. When my brother, I remember a girl in school, my girl made fun of my brother's hair because he had, you know, a fro, and I was like, no, you can come for me all you want. You go for my baby brother, like, I'll cut you. I'll cut you and I'll watch you bleed out. Okay, so
come on, Maz.
you know, so yes. I think I do have this very visceral like need to help where I can. You know, children in particular are something, and anyone who feels, anyone I see getting punched down on, I don't like it. I don't like it. And having the platform I have, regardless of whether it was big or not, I would still be speaking up. I would still be raising money. I would still be outspoken and educating others and myself, because I think if you are going to speak out, you better be educated as well. Because, you know, we're in the age of entertainment and celebrity and all of that, and it seems that for some people that's how messages get across, you know, for whatever reason. And so I guess I just feel this need, not for a pat on the back, but to honestly make a change. And I am a mother as well, you know, so I have a little son. I want to leave this place, this world a better place than when I entered it. You know, and I entered it in a very rough time in South Africa, where I was from. So I don't know. I don't shy away from politics or social issues, because it's just a part of who I am.
Right. And also a part of who you are is looking so effortlessly beautiful. You look so amazing. Your fitness routine is out of this world. I mean, you're a mom, but can you give us some tips? How do you stay so fit? And do you have a secret? Do you have a routine that you stick to? Or what do you do to stay so fit?
I have an incredible trainer, Paolo Machete, who I've been training with him since I was in season 2, and he actually trains Tom and Kevin and Rachel as well now. And or he trained Kevin first, and then I joined. And I'm also vegan, so I don't eat any animal products. And that's something I think that has really helped me. And I didn't do it because of weight or anything like that. It was really like I felt better, you know, and
Did you go cold turkey, or was it a
Well, I was already pescatarian, so I was only eating fish. I wasn't eating chicken or meat. To be honest with you, the meat in America scared me a lot with like all the hormones and stuff. No judgment here, just
no shade,
I don't know.
a little bit, like,
I don't trust the FDA, man. I don't know.
That's
what is in the drugs,
thing.
what is in the food.
Ooh, that's a whole other live that we'll have to do just to break that down, because that's crazy.
And also, you know, I do love animals, but if I'm honest, 100%, it came from like a health factor for me. And so that's probably the biggest thing. I have a 3-year-old. I run around with him. He's very active. I'm up at 6:30 every day, regardless of what my night was like. Right. So it's really that. But you know, I don't know. I gained 47 pounds and I had my baby, like.
But you lost it so quick. You look so good on that cover of Women's Health. So
thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, like as women, we just get like, you know, it's like we're sold this idea of a size that's perfect, and I love seeing beautiful, strong women of all different walks of life and races and different body shapes owning it. I love it, you know. And so I'm always very apprehensive with women who are like, how do I lose weight or how do I this? And I'm like, well, listen, if you want to be healthy, that's a different thing. But losing weight is never my my goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you do for self-care? Since we've been in quarantine, what are you doing? Or what were you doing before quarantine, before COVID happened? What do you do for self-care to treat yourself?
You know what I've been doing a lot recently, more of, is meditating.
Okay.
And I've been saying, I will say, I've been praying a lot more. And I think that is...
Anna and I just spoke about prayer last week.
Oh, really? Oh, my God, Anna!
Oh. We talked about prayer, and it's so funny you say that. We talked about that.
You know, I think I've just been, you know, it's such a hard time for so many people in different ways. Right. And I think, you know, collectively, I'll admit there were periods in my life where like I strayed and I wasn't as connected spiritually, you know, and to, you know, for me, this time, I really do see it as a blessing because, one, I've connected with my family. I've connected with my faith. I've connected with the things that really matter. You know, my neighbor across the street is a nurse, and you know, she was working with COVID patients, and man, was I praying for her, and so hard. She has a little girl, you know, who's about to turn 2, and so that has really been something that's it's been a real blessing for me in the last like 6 months for sure.
Well, before I let you go, can we do a quick rapid fire? So you're my first one that I'm doing rapid fire with. I don't normally do rapid fire, so you're the first.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And before we do it, though, Netflix, Friday, August 21st. Lucifer.
Netflix, Friday, August 21st. Be there. Be there.
Chill. Be there or be square.
Netflix and chill.
So that's my first question, rapid fire. Netflix and chill or drive-in? Because we're in Corona. We're in COVID. I mean, quarantine, so we can't, like, go into it.
Netflix and chill, for sure.
Okay. Best piece of advice you've received?
Sunscreen, always.
Love it. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Sassy, loving, sensitive.
Okay. I love it. Morning person or night person?
Morning.
Okay. Most used item during quarantine?
My phone.
That's why mine's is acting up.
I know. I feel bad, but
we got through it, though. We got through it. Leslie, thank you so much for being you, for being the gem that you are. I so appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Thank you so much.
Man, I honestly, I love you.
No,
I
I
feel
love
like
you.
I
I was
do.
so
I'm just
excited.
like you're radiating through my screen right now. And let's definitely do this again come season 6.
We definitely have to do it
Please
again.
do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And we'll be Netflix and chilling on Friday, watching you.
Yes. Yes. I'm getting my hair braided on Friday for a photo shoot. So
Ooh,
that's
what
what
kind
I'll
of
be doing.
braids? What kind of braids are you getting? Cornrows?
No, I'm doing, so my stylist who's she is Nigerian American, and she
Okay.
is braiding my hair for a photo shoot that we're doing. And I showed her this photo, I was like, will we be able to do this in time? Because I want to keep my team really small. And she's like, yeah, we'll get some. It's kind of like a loose sort of Zoe Kravitz,
Oh, I love it. Super chic and
Yeah.
hip, like a hippie.
Yeah, kind of messy, but like,
Well,
yeah.
I hope you give us a little peek of the pics so we can see
I
that.
will.
Yes. Thank you so much, Leslie. Have a beautiful night, beautiful weekend. Congratulations on the premiere, season 5.
Thank you, beautiful. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah. Where is the buzz? You said was mine.
Where is the buzz?
Ooh.